Michelle Barone.
And I'm Mark Malone.
And it's time to wake up with your favorite bank.
Rhinebeck Bank. And what a great day it is today.
Yes, it is. It's always a great day. It's Monday morning, 8 a.m., and we're here for you with one of our favorite people who work for Rhinebeck Bank.
And normally I'd be a little concerned right now because human resources is in the building. But this is actually one of my favorite people in the whole world. So great to talk to. You can always bounce ideas back and forth. Very accessible.
Yes, and makes the process seamless. No matter what problem you may have or any questions, always go to Jeanine and she'll be there for you.
And she's a very nice person. So I'd like to welcome Jeanine Borko, Senior Vice President of Human Resources for Rhinebeck Bank. Come on out, Jeanine.
Yes, Jeanine. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for joining us. Have a seat.
Okay. Thank you. How are you this morning?
Very well.
And I know I used one of your favorite words this morning.
Nice? Yes, we all know I love the word nice.
Oh my, Mark, you got to put her on the spot, huh?
I always try to at least a little bit with our guests, but let's talk about what you do at Rhinebeck Bank.
So I've been at Rhinebeck Bank now for almost 2 years. I am the head of HR. We are a group of 5 people in total. So I oversee payroll, that's done by Brittany, and recruiting, as well as employee development. We just started a mentorship program at the company. So we're doing a lot of good things there.
I love the mentor program, I have to say. I'm a mentor and a mentee, and I've learned so much through the program, so thanks for that initiative. Tell us some tips on how someone can choose the right career for them. I think you recently had a blog post on that topic.
We did a blog post on that. I think it's important. A lot of people say, find something that you enjoy doing. When we go to work, we spend more hours a day at work than we do with our family, than we spend with our friends. So I think it's important to enjoy what it is that you do. I think internships are a great way to figure that out. Mm-hmm. We support interns from the local colleges at Rhinebeck Bank, and that's a good learning experience to find out the things that you're studying, how you can actually apply them to the workforce, and if you might actually like doing that in real life. So I think that that's really important.
Well, and one of the things that I know that we always talk about at work is making sure that you're doing what you need to that apply to your skills and doing what you love.
Right.
And I think a lot of times, especially going through college, you think you want to do something, but it's not really what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Right. And now I think a lot of times the colleges offer these 5-year programs where you go right from undergrad into your graduate work. Mm-hmm. That's a big investment that you're making in time and in money to go right from undergrad into graduate when you haven't actually even worked in the field. Like I have a friend who started to do a graduate program out of undergrad in marketing, actually, and she didn't like it at all. She did an internship in marketing while she was starting the grad program, and back then she was doing it part-time, so the grad program was like 3 years. So she got a year into it and was like, I don't like this at all, so she switched over to human resources, and actually is still in human resources today. And it's weird, a lot of my friends have wound up in human resources. My best friend is also in human resources.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so it is weird. And we were friends before. It's not like we all met in HR, although I have met
that does happen, though. Exactly. I mean, I have a friend that went to school for education, undergrad and master's, and decided that education wasn't the right career path. And I mean, that gets difficult sometimes. So I think that's great advice, especially with some of the benefits most companies offer, tuition reimbursement, to now get back out and specialize in what you're really loving.
Yeah, so work in the field a bit.
Yep.
That sounds good. And if they don't like it, what do they do? Try something else? Or?
You have to try something else. Yeah. And you know, a lot of people even make career changes later on in life. You see a lot of women who, you know, decide to stay home with kids and then afterwards decide, you know, I didn't love what I was doing back then. I'm going to go back, maybe learn something. You know, there's a lot of like BOCES programs where you can learn some skills. I know a lot of people who went back for nursing after they had their kids, right? There's a lot of online programs. So there's a lot of ways to get formal education to back up what it is that you think that you enjoy. Like I said, internships, part-time jobs, all of those things can help you figure out what it is that you like to do.
So let's talk about the interview process, because I think that's an area that for a lot of our audience out there, they're interested in knowing how they should present themselves on an interview. And first impressions are something that come up a lot.
Yeah.
And I know that you can have a great interview, but if your initial first impression isn't that good, that can lead to a different type of thought process. So what are your feelings on that?
Yep. I think a lot of people say that you make your first impression within the first 5 minutes of an interview. The interviewer knows how it's going. I try and be a little less biased than that because some people are just nervous when they start an interview. Of course, first impressions from a physical standpoint, it's always better to overdress than to underdress for an interview.
That's an interesting thing to note.
It does not matter what the dress policy of the company is before you're hired there. Always assume that it's business dress. A lot of us don't have business attire anymore, but always show up to an interview in business attire.
Interesting.
Yep. And that first impression of the hello with the handshake and eye contact, I feel is important. Again, why is someone not looking me in the eye when they walk into a room? So it's that initial handshake, hello, thank you for having me, nice to meet you. Even before you get in and see somebody, your resume has to look good. It has to have 0 typos.
Have somebody proofread it. Have two people proofread it.
Have anybody proofread it. You proofread it. Read it out loud. Read it backwards. That's what we used to do old school before there was spell check. You read a document backwards to make sure it made sense. Read it out loud. Make sure it's visually appealing on a page. There's no reason why all of your text should be at the top of the page and the bottom of the page is empty. Don't have a 5-page resume. I saw a 5-page resume last week of somebody that had 2 jobs.
Too much information.
So all of these things are important when making a first impression.
I don't know how people survived without spell check. I have to be honest with you. That must have been difficult.
Well, they have spell check and they still don't use it because I would say a good 20% of resumes have spelling errors on it.
That many. That's very interesting. Yeah. So before even interviewing, get a good resume, have someone proofread it. And I know in the blog post about that, you also mentioned an English teacher. If you have a friend that's an English teacher, hand it over to them. They'll have a...
There you go.
Yeah, business teachers as well. People who teach computers, typing, that kind of stuff too. They're always great.
And so now, what makes a good interview? What do you feel makes a good interview?
Being honest about your skills, asking questions about the job, prepared questions, not something that you could have found out by doing research. Don't ask me a question on how many locations we have. You could find that out from looking at the website, which you should do before you meet with me.
Good point.
Asking questions about the job and making sure that you are honest about your skills because it needs to be a right fit. If you are just fudging your way through an interview and we hire you and we find out that you don't have the skills necessary.
2 months later.
Right, exactly. 2 months later, you're out looking for another job and we're trying to hire somebody.
Exactly, and it costs a lot of money to hire. So, yeah, honesty is definitely important. So, speaking of hiring, once you actually have the interview and everything's kind of set in place, do you go back then and look at their social media sites or
we do
look at them up online?
Yep.
Or how's the process once the interview takes place?
So our interview process after somebody comes in, we do a background check on everybody who we make an offer to. But before we make that offer, we do check sites, social media sites, to really just check and make sure that there's nothing that looks like they are bad-mouthing their employer or bad-mouthing coworkers. I remember a post that I saw that one woman said, "Oh, I just accepted this job. I can't believe I'm accepting it. I hate working with kids, but it was for a daycare. I hate working with kids, but I'm just going to take it until I find something else."
That's horrible.
And she posted that.
And it's judgment too.
Right. And the future employer saw that and said, well, obviously we're not going to, adhere to this offer because this is not the right.
And I've made phone calls to set up interviews in the past, and I listen to the voicemail message before I leave a message, and I say to myself, wow, I wish they had changed that before they started looking for a job.
Yeah, I say that too. I used to teach. I say that to the students too. If you need to make an email address that is just for your job search, do that. Because on your resume, I quite frankly don't want to see that your email address is sweetbabycakes83 @gmail.com.
I agree.
Just make one that's just for your job search.
Takes
And
2
then
seconds.
Right, and then you know the emails coming into that email are just about the jobs that you've applied for.
I know a lot of college students have websites where they post their bio with their work history, kind of like a longer extended version of their website, links to their social media and LinkedIn, and I think that's a good way to get hired too.
Yeah, I think that's a trend that the career services departments are telling students that they should do. I actually love when college students come with a business card that they printed up for themselves. I think that that's very nice. You know, just again, thought-provoking and showing that they're thinking outside of the box and they want to present themselves professionally.
Interesting.
So before, we have a fun game that we want to play with you today, but before we get there, you know, as you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, we have a lot of entry-level jobs at the bank, and we're really looking for qualified college graduates to get into these job families. And I think sometimes for the students that are graduating college, they see this as a job that might not be what they're looking for, but it could build into something that they're looking for. So what are your recommendations to those students to give these jobs a shot?
Yep. I think many of our departments, and certainly retail, is a way to learn the banking industry and progress. I'm sure you've talked about it in the past on the show that our CEO started off as a trainee out of college.
Yes.
And 30-something years later, he's the CEO of the bank. And we have a lot of success stories like that. And we want to promote from within. That is one of our goals, is to primarily promote from within. So we do look for college grads who want to learn the industry, who want to work hard, who are going to study. Again, we have tuition reimbursement that we can put you through graduate school if you want that.
It's fantastic.
If you've gone for 2 years at Dutchess, we'll put you in for 2 years. If you're just graduating from high school, we'll put you through college if you want to go to college. We have enough, like you said, online programs and local good colleges here in the area that you could work for us and get additional education. And we have a lot of career opportunities.
So check out our career page.
Yes.
We have a lot of college grads who we've hired throughout the last 2 years that I've been here who have already progressed. We hired someone last year into retail, and he didn't make it 6 months in retail, and we brought him into
We're a revolving
headquarters.
door. We're always
Right.
moving people up,
Yeah.
Exactly.
which is a good
And
thing.
it's good to know, though, that sometimes it does take time, and patience is important. You know, I remember getting out of college, and I was like, all right, when am I going to be the next VP of marketing?
Right.
And it just doesn't work that way. You know, you have to kind of earn your stripes, earn, again, the career itself, make sure you want to do it, and progress.
Work ethic is still important.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
It
yeah.
is.
I mean, if you work hard, you will succeed a lot of the time. It's just putting in that work and being willing to learn.
Yes.
Great advice today, Jeanine.
Yes.
And we're going to play a fun game with you today, and we're really going to put your skills to the test. So here's what Michelle and I are going to do with you today. We want to play a game called Hired or Fired. And what we're going to do is we're going to read you a scenario. The scenario is looking at parts of a celebrity's bio and also some other interesting facts that Michelle's put in.
Yes.
And what we want you to decide is whether or not this is somebody that you would hire or somebody you'd most likely want to fire.
Yes.
And Michelle's going to kick us off.
Exactly. So this person, without mentioning the person, is in a lead role for a movie, and I want you to decide if you're going to fire this person.
Okay.
So she's an accomplished actress and model, and has been for many years, since she was a child. She was hired for a lead role in a movie, but hasn't shown up in 5 days and has not called in. Her agent calls and makes up excuses for her. The casting director has had it. He's done. And she's recently been unreliable, although she has a really good reputation in the past. And casting her would mean that they would probably make some good money in the box office. What would you do? Would you fire her?
My initial reaction is to fire her. The only thing that made me hesitate is that you said that this was never an issue before. So I would try and delve a little bit into it and see if this is a one-off, if something's going on in these 5 days. I don't like that that her agent is making excuses. If it's the first time, possibly, but my gut is to terminate.
See, this is why we have human resources, because my reaction would have been fire them.
Fire her right away. She's actually thinking about it. That was Lindsay Lohan. So
So you're going to have more of a detailed conversation with this
Yes.
to figure out what's going on.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so this next person is somebody that we're looking to potentially hire for a new reality show.
Okay.
This person has had a successful reality show in the past. They're a master of marketing. They own a billion-dollar business. They have a family who was raised very well and is very involved in these businesses and employs thousands of people throughout the United States.
And we're looking to hire this person for a reality show?
For a reality show.
Not for a government position or anything like that? For a reality show?
For
a reality show?
The application is for a reality show.
Yes, they sound very qualified for a reality show.
All right, so you just hired the President, Donald Trump, for a reality show.
Awesome. So this next person is someone that is currently employed at a record label. We're deciding whether we should keep him or fire him. He's had a bad reputation growing up as a troublemaker, although he ended up meeting the right people in his late teens, got signed to this label, and made millions and millions of dollars. He had several hits in the past, but hasn't had a hit in over a year, and the last album he put out didn't really do well. He started his own label and, again, is still working for this label as well. Would you hire him, or would you keep him, or would you fire him?
He has his own label too?
Yes. We gotta take that out.
Okay. Well, that's okay. No, I would think about that. So I am not in the industry, obviously. I would think, if possible, I would like to, I don't even know if it's possible to do this, but put out a single, see how the single did.
Another one after this album just didn't do well?
Single, right. Okay. I might not invest in a whole album, but maybe a single, see how that goes. And then if there's interest and that gains momentum, then maybe put out an album, but I wouldn't sign him for a full contract.
Well, that's interesting.
I like the idea.
I like the idea too. Since he's been accomplished and made millions, give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so we kind of halfway hired this person. Halfway hired.
Eminem is staying employed at the
Eminem
label.
is staying employed temporarily, okay. All right, this last one also has had a successful music career, and this person is applying to be a music educator or a music teacher. They've been in the music industry since they were a teen. They were actually considered a teen idol at one point. Has served as a lead vocalist in a group, has many good leadership skills, including being a lead vocalist, and like Michael Jackson, became a standout performer at a very early age. And he's looking to teach music.
He sounds very qualified.
So you'd hire him?
I think so.
So you just hired your favorite person in the whole world, Donny Osmond.
Yay, Donny.
Well, thank goodness I called that one correctly. Is he going to be my employee?
He is, and I'm sure he's going to get a great performance review.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the way, Jeanine is obsessed with Donny Osmond, for anyone out there.
I'm sorry, but I do love Donny Osmond.
So we had no doubt that you'd hire him.
Yes. All right. Wow. I have a lot for him to do.
Well, thank you so much for being a good sport today, and thank you for the information. And to all of our viewers out there, please check out our career site on rhinebeckbank.com. Yes. We're always looking for new qualified candidates to come meet with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Jeanine. That was great. We want to thank Jeanine Borko for joining us today. It was wonderful to learn a little bit more about some of the tips and tricks she has about getting hired and really how you should present yourself for an interview. Absolutely.
It's always good to learn. And like Mark said, visit our website for career opportunities at rhinebeckbank.com. And check us out next Monday on wakeupRhinebeck.com at 8 a.m. We'll see you then.
See you then.
Bye.